Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sears. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
No, my lights are off in here today. Hey, welcome back to the program. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. Two-way views, conservative news, and it just seems weird, Craig. It's like weird. It's like gray in here for some reason. I don't get it.
Well, you look marvelous, almost as marvelous as our President Donald Trump.
Hey, stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image of me that you're used to. I look money, a king bee making honey, see? Deep state, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round, I'm the new sheriff in town. All my people rise up and stand your ground. Now drink up all the Diet Coke you got on your shelf. So just let me introduce myself, my name is Trump D. I like my mashed potatoes lumpy. Fake news, oh how I like to punk thee. That little sniper on the slope tin, he took a shot but he missed me. I don't fall, y'all, I'm like the ever-ready bunny. Still going strong and spunky. So put on your big boy pants. Come on, let's do the dance.
The Trumpy dance is your chance to do the Trump.
Come on, do the Trumpy Trump. Come on and do the Trumpy Trump. Check me out, y'all. We do the Trumpy Trump. Just watch me do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? We do the Trumpy Trump.
That's right. As much as I love Gomer, the idea of doing the Trumpty Trump every Monday morning just gets my week off to a good start.
Yeah, we could fit Gomer in, for every other Friday or something like that. No big deal. But Craig, we run the risk of losing those people that are not really Trump fans, and you're not gonna watch a lot. So I don't know what to say to them, but other than I guess just hope you find yourself at a place somewhere else.
Well, I guess maybe you're gonna have to find a place somewhere else. Maybe, I don't know, bird watching.
Yeah, bird watching. There you go. Maybe the orange feathered parakeet or something like that.
Look, I'm like this. If I can wake up every morning and have to watch Joe Biden on TV or somebody representing the left on TV, you know what? Y'all can handle a little Trump dance every Monday morning, or maybe tune in at 3 minutes after the hour, and then you won't have to watch the Trumpty Trump.
Now we'll make you watch it. We're going to spring it up on you throughout the show, no matter what.
There you go. By the way, you notice I added our little Trump there doing the whole Trumpty Trump the whole time.
You had the Trump dancing to the Trump, which was awesome. It's like a double Trump. Yeah,
it's a double Trump. Trump card, whack it.
Yeah, but that's the double Trump card. That's like the draw four.
There you go. We playing the double Trump card right here.
There you go. That's it. Yeah.
So how is your Monday going, sir?
So far, so good. No warrants at the door yet. So, all right.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into the program. And, I don't know why every time I forget this, because you know what? We got to do what we got to do, and we got to pay them bills first. And that starts with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Now you get yourself an AR barrel rifle for any caliber, any length you desire for your next AR rifle or pistol build. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting that good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market, get on over to Hog Holsters. It's HAWGholsters.com, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. It's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get a nice little discount. And if you want, listen, you need a bunch of field gear, whether you're outfitting your store, outfitting your team, outfitting your agency, whatever it may be, you can get everything from military, law enforcement, security, fire, whatever it is. Get on over to uscombatgear.com where you can get everything except the gun.
Folks, all you have to do to visit our sponsors is follow the links in the description to this website. There's links to each and every one of their websites. All you got to do is go there, spend some money with them, and tell them that it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you're watching this program live, we're taking your comments live and sharing them with our audience. We're on YouTube. We are on Rumble. We are on the Twitters. I think we're on TikTok too, running live. So however you are commenting, we are taking your comments and we're sharing them with the audience. Sadly, for those of you who are watching us on Facebook, Facebook Live just seems to want to give us too many problems. So we run it again at the bottom, at the top of the following hour. You'll be able to watch it there, along with every place else where you get our podcast. Once again, that's at the 7 o'clock hour East, 4 o'clock hour Pacific. But anyway, we would very much like to hear from you folks. I don't know about Mike, but I like the feedback. Even if we disagree, at least if we disagree, it gives us a reason to mock you.
That's right. We will mock you.
We will mock you.
Yep, that's right.
All right, fun stuff. All right. Speaking, by the way, of being mocked, and we'll get into the first story of the day, Zelenskyy kicked out of the White House. Now, this was an interesting one. I'm trying to remember if we talked about this on Friday or not. I think we talked about it a little bit, but I mean, really, it's kind of interesting, the analysis that so many people have put into this showdown between President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine. And I have to tell you, if you have not done so, you need to watch the entire exchange. You have to watch the entire press conference, because if you just look at when they were going back and forth, it looks like they're kind of picking on Zelenskyy. But the reality is, Zelenskyy went into the room and basically tried to negotiate the deal in the room. And I think dude just had no idea what he was in for. But I also think that the folks over at the Washington Free Beacon, I think, have a pretty good analysis of it. And it says here, Trump's Oval Office showdown with Zelenskyy and the end of Europe's free ride. Now, what are they talking about here? The point of this whole thing, the point of this whole deal is, look, we're going to kick in, but we're going to make sure Europe kicks in as well. We're not just going to agree to, and the thing that Zelenskyy kept trying to get out of this whole deal was, he's like, I want a guarantee that you are going to fight for us if Russia comes back in. They want a defense agreement, right? And he's like, look, if we're investing, if half your mineral reserves are coming to us, yeah, we're going to have workers there. If they come in and attack, we're going to be there. And then what he's basically saying is, look, and if we're not going to be there, but it's also because Europe is going to be involved in this as well. They also want Europe to provide some guarantees as well. And I think that's what this particular piece here by the folks over at the Washington Free Beacon is hitting on is, look, it ain't just on us, the United States. In fact, it shouldn't just be on us, because Ukraine's not in our backyard.
No, it's not, right? But they sure are. Don't have any problem cashing our checks either. $350 billion so far, of which it's been alleged and partly proven that over half of that money and those weapons that we've sent over are gone now. They've sold the weapons on the open market to make money, because they want money more than they want guns. Greg, if you only got 100,000 guys in your army, you can't send more than 1 million guns. I mean, they're not going to use them, right? So nobody did that math in the last administration. It's fascinating to watch, because he came in there after looks like he had a breakfast meeting with some Republican senators that thought they were a little more important than they were, and told Zelenskyy that, don't worry, we got your back. And then they went in there and tried to show up Donald Trump. And there's one thing I think everybody knows about Donald Trump. Don't try and show Donald Trump up, because Donald Trump's going to be the top player in the room, right? I do like how President Trump kind of sat back and took it easy and let JD do some of the wet work for him there. And then when JD jumped him and Zelenskyy tried to jump on JD, that's when Donald Trump came in. So it was pretty interesting dynamic to watch. And I will say this, Craig, put on a freaking suit before you go to the Oval Office. Okay. I don't care if you're wearing a tracksuit back there in the old Warsaw Pact, and that's what you wear to your wedding. You don't wear that in the Oval Office. They're wearing suits. You wear a suit. That would have set the tone for a much more respectable meeting if you'd done that.
That didn't bother me as much. What bothered me was the fact that dude thought he was gonna control things. He thought he was going to do to Trump what he had done to Biden, and basically embarrass him in front of the camera, or attempt to shame him into making an agreement. And J.D. Vance and Donald Trump were having none of it. And what was interesting is there was a good 40 minutes before the stuff, that most of the video that you see, there was a good 40 minutes before that where Donald Trump was like trying to soft sell. Look, yeah, once we're in there, once we've got people working on the ground, trust me, we're going to have interest there. And, we're going to have a reason to want to make sure to provide this sort of, I mean, we're 95% of the way there. He's literally telling him, you got this, but you got to agree to this mineral deal first. And, finally, finally, J.D. Vance was just like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you?
Let me be clear on the mineral deal again. This wasn't blackmailing them. This wasn't, listen, we're not giving you this stuff if you don't give us the mineral rights deal. You got to pay us for the stuff. Listen, we understand you're in the middle of a war. Yeah,
right.
Kind of, right? So nobody's using your mineral rights right now. You're not using your mineral rights right now. All we want you to do is say, because of all the assistance we've given you and all the money we've given you, the $350 billion worth, you put us down for a couple percentage of your mineral rights. And when you get back to producing them, we get a little bit back of what we spent on you.
Well, even more than that. It's more than a little percent, but we're talking about having American workers on the ground working there, pulling out those minerals. So because we're going to have American business interests and American workers and companies there, that is the guarantee, because we're not going to allow our people to get attacked. We're not going to allow Russia to come in and put our people in danger. That's what Trump is trying to tell him.
Again, this is after the cessation of hostilities.
Yes.
Nobody's talking about sending Americans there now. And now, what do you think a little percentage is, Craig? What percentage do you not think?
It was something like it was something close to 50%. But I think. From what I understand, it's about that high. It was a lot.
It might have been 50 once you put all our workers and everybody else on the ground, but we were only asking for, I think it was 20 to 25 of what was coming out of the ground.
Well, in the end, wherever we would have settled, I'm sure it would have been reasonable. The point was that was what should have been negotiated and should have been negotiated behind the scenes. It should never have been, and it would, by the way, all of this stuff would have been negotiated behind the scenes had Zelenskyy not decided to try and force it in front of the cameras.
It was negotiated behind the scenes. Zelenskyy said he would have to take it to his legislature, but when he got the word from the other Republicans, he decided to come in and try and play it in front of the camera. He tried to renegotiate in front of the camera.
It wasn't just Republicans. It was actually Republicans and Democrats.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. He met with a group of Republicans and Democrats, and I can tell you, and this was one of the questions was, did the Dems actually try to subvert this deal? And I feel pretty confident when I look back at it, when you look back at what Democrats were saying. Well, I'm not the only person who believes that Democrats sought to try and undermine this deal.
Democrats sink this deal, in your opinion?
I think if that story is correct, and there's every indication that it is correct, I think the Democrats sunk the deal on purpose in order not to give Donald Trump a huge win. I mean, imagine if we can get peace in Ukraine, just like the president said he would do. That's a huge boost for our president, and the Democrats can have none of it. And that's why I believe they did sabotage the deal. And believe me, this is putting politics ahead of people's lives. This is putting politics ahead of the national security interests of the United States, Europe, and the world. I mean, this conflict can spiral out of control. It's outrageous what the Democrats did, but it's also outrageous that Zelenskyy actually listened to them. So my advice to Zelenskyy, come over here, meet with the Democrats again, take really good notes, and do exactly the opposite of what they're telling you to do.
So now keep in mind, they did this. They said these things because they wanted to be able to go on TV and say this.
It had the feelings at times, Dana, of an ambush. It seemed as though Vladimir Putin's work was being done for him.
It was a planned ambush designed to embarrass President Zelenskyy in order to benefit Vladimir Putin.
I think there's no question that this was a setup. This was a setup for the cameras to try to humiliate Zelenskyy.
Now, mind you, Mike, none of this happened until 40 minutes in. 40 minutes of Zelenskyy trying to basically say, the security guarantees are going to be in this deal. I mean, basically negotiate in front of the cameras.
Well, it took him a couple of minutes to get the nerve up. It took 40 minutes for him to get the nerve up sitting there. And again, I apologize. When I said Republicans before, I meant to say senators before, not just Republicans. The and I'm Craig. I'm sorry. I still got to go back to what he wears. If you're invited to the White House with me when I get, are you gonna you're gonna put a suit on, aren't you?
No, yeah, of course I am. Of course I'm going to put on a suit.
And why do you do that?
Well, I do that out of respect.
Well, guess who didn't do that and had no respect for that office or those people in there?
Well, I guess my point is that I'll put it this way. He was trying to do like other leaders of other military countries do when they're in the midst of wars. They wear their war garb. I get it. I don't agree with it. He should have worn a suit, but I get it. It doesn't bother. I'll put it to you this way. I think focusing on that is majoring in the minors.
You're right. I think if I was the Secret Service at the door, I would have been like, "I'm sorry, sir. There's a coat and tie requirement here. Let me take you over to the closet here. Maybe we can get you something that somebody else left behind. So you don't have to look like a Serbian sniper from 1994 in here." All right.
Like I said, I don't disagree with you. I just, for me, the biggest issue was the disrespectful tone that he took. And by the way, trying to negotiate in front of the cameras, in front of the media. He thought he was dealing with Joe Biden. He found out Joe Biden is clearly no longer president of the United States. Now, I will say this, and this is the one thing that I will say, is that wanting the security guarantees in writing is not unreasonable, considering the fact that Donald Trump will not always be president. We will not always have someone as strong as Donald Trump who's going to stand up and fight. And just because Donald Trump is willing to stand up and fight for our people right now doesn't mean that the next president of the United States, should it be a Democrat, is willing to fight as well.
Craig, I have no doubt in my mind, no doubt at all, that whatever they agreed to would have 100% been put on paper. Just no issue. There's not going to be the last guy didn't say blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Here it is on paper. Donald Trump loves to put it on paper because he's establishing his legacy.
Right. I just think I think Democrats convinced him, get it up front, because they knew it wasn't going to happen. And so they wanted to sabotage the deal.
Yeah. And again, now listen, you keep saying Democrats. I'm going to keep saying senators. It was more than just Democrat senators there. There are some TDS people on the Republican side that were there as well.
Well, Lindsey Graham was one of the people there. He's not a TDSer, although he is a double dealer. I will give him that.
Listen, did you see Lindsey Graham's comments over the weekend? He threw Zelenskyy completely under the bus. He said,
he completely threw Zelenskyy under the bus.
He goes, I agreed with you, but until you come in here and show your ass like that, now you're on your own, bro.
Well, exactly. And you just the exact phrase you just used is exactly the best way to explain what he did. He went in there and he showed his ass, and Donald Trump and JD Vance put the boot to that ass and put him out of the White House.
And again, I said it earlier, but I really like the dynamic that Donald didn't attack at first. He let JD go in, and then when Zelenskyy disrespected JD, that's when Trump said, "What are you doing to my boy? You don't talk to my guy like that. I'll stick a fork in your face." You know?
Well, it was funny because it was like Donald Trump up until a certain point. Donald Trump was not even up until a certain point. Donald Trump was the adult in the room. He was like they were going at it, and Donald Trump was like, "No, wait, hold on." And then finally, he's like, "Look, you ain't talking to my vice president like that."
That's it. You're talking to my guy. I'll stab you in the face with a fork.
That's pretty much what he said. Anyway, all I will say is this: is that in the end, it made them look worse. Europe is now on notice, by the way. Just so y'all know, the big point that Donald Trump has been trying to make, whether it's NATO, whether it's just their defense in general, or whether it's in this particular case with Ukraine, most of Europe has the benefit of having America provide their national defense. The reason why they have all of these great social welfare programs and their nation hasn't gone broke is because they haven't had to defend themselves. They haven't had to have a national defense. And Donald Trump is saying, nah, y'all pay your own bills. You, in particular, if you're going to lecture us, if you're going to tell us what to do, you're going to tell us how to do things here, well, then screw you. You defend yourselves. You defend yourselves against Russia. Yep. And he's telling them, look, pay your own bills. Pay your bills in NATO. Set up your own national defense. Heck, we could take some of that money back and we could institute some social welfare programs that we could brag about.
That's right. Like Canadian healthcare.
Anyway. America's hat. Anyway, doing stuff like this, like the left loves to do. For example, this was an interesting one that I read. The Oscars were held last night, and needless to say, it was a bunch of movies that no one's ever watched or no one has ever heard of. But one of the more popular movies this last year was the film about Ronald Reagan. It was a biopic on Ronald Reagan. Now, the interesting thing about this film, as popular as it was, and let's make it very clear, this was one of the most popular films of the year. But it didn't receive any Best Picture consideration because of DEI requirements. It says here, fan favorite presidential biopic Ronald Reagan has been disqualified from consideration for the Best Picture Oscar this year because it failed to meet the judge's DEI requirements. The movie, starring Dennis Quaid as Republican president, couldn't hit any of the criteria that the Academy for Motion Picture requires of picture nominations, including that their cast be at least 30% from traditionally underrepresented groups such as minorities, women, and LGBTQ community. By these new rules, many previous winners would never have been recognized, said Reagan screenwriter Howard Klausner to the Post. The list includes legendary flicks such as The Godfather, Patton, Rocky, claimed Ed Fulner, former domestic policy advisor under Reagan, in an opinion piece to the Washington Times. The film's producer, Mark Joseph, invoking one of Reagan's own famous lines to complain about Hollywood's leftist establishment, quipped to the Post, "There they go again." All you can say is that there's a reason why nobody watched the Oscars last night and why they never watched the Oscars. And by the way, if it hadn't been for the fact that the star of that, I don't even know the name of the film, some movie about a drug lord who gets a sex change, if it hadn't been for the fact that that person actually turned out to be a racist, or at least said things that were racist, that would have won Best Picture as well as a bunch of other nominations. But I just think that Hollywood is completely and utterly self-important and a little too woke for my taste.
Yeah, obviously the ridiculous DEI nonsense that they still go with. The other one is, and I haven't seen a lot of people mention it, is that the Hollywood's turned their back on Dennis Quaid as well. He's a God-fearing man and has no problem going out and preaching that to people, personally and publicly in TV and movies. So they've turned their back against him as well as they have others that have shown their love of God.
Well, yeah, because you can say praise be to Allah and you get praised, but if you say you can say what's that, Allahu Akbar, yeah, but if you say praise the Lord, well, unless of course you're in the NFL. If you're in the NFL, you do get to say, I'd like to first of all thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and then say nothing else Christian. Then you're okay. Anyway, but I think, first of all, the very fact that, once again, and I can't even begin to tell you, I haven't watched any of the movies that have been nominated over the last few years, because I think nobody watches the movies that are nominated. There was the movie that was telling you about, the transgender drug lord, cartel leader. It got 9 nominations, right? What's funny about it is that the ratings by the critics on Rotten Tomatoes was like 78%, and the ratings from audiences was like 17%. That tells you the difference between what the critics want or what they believe, because they believe that messaging and, obviously if they had a chance to have a transgender film win, they would have transgender musical about a cartel leader.
The ones that were here's the Best Picture list, and it was so long. It used to be just like 5. Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave. I saw.
I did see Conclave.
Dune. Yeah, Dune Part 2 I've heard of. I didn't see it. The other ones I hadn't heard of.
I saw it, not that good.
I'm still here. Substance, never saw it, never heard of them. The only ones I've even heard of were Conclave, Dune Part 2, and Wicked. And the other ones I've never even heard of before. And I only saw one of these. I only saw Conclave of the whole list.
Yeah, which had its own little twist at the end. I thought it was really intriguing until the very end.
First, yeah. And all that was a remake of The Young Pope from HBO from a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Anyway, Hollywood, you're missing it. And I think that's why you're starting to see, the great thing about technology nowadays is you're starting to see other independent film companies are starting to now produce films that are a lot less woke, that have a lot better messaging, that are just trying to stay out of a lot of that stuff and really just focusing on messages that people want to hear.
Yes. Yeah. You're like entertainment, right? That's what I hear and see,
Entertainment, because that give the people what they want, and you know what the people of New York City want, Mike. The people of New York City clearly want Andrew Cuomo to be their next mayor, or at least that's what he thinks. That's right, as reported by the folks over at The Hill. Former disgraced, he's still disgraced, but he is should be disgraced former New York governor. Andrew Cuomo plans to run for mayor of New York City against Eric Adams. Mike, I just gotta wonder. You're a New York guy. How do you think this is going to go over with the people of New York?
Yeah, what New York is missing is creepy old guys touching women's butts and not knowing there's anything wrong with that. That's what New York needs. That's exactly what they need.
But that's pretty much New York.
That's talking about Andrew Cuomo, right? And listen, again, I don't believe he's going to be running against Eric Adams. I believe Eric Adams is going to be the next governor. So he's going to Hochul's dead in the water. Nobody cares. She's trying to be New York City mayor as well, trying to dictate what Eric Adams has to do. So Cuomo. I think Cuomo might understand that Eric Adams won't be there, so he'll have the one with the name recognition. You're trying to move into town, but no, City ain't gonna have that. City ain't gonna have that guy.
No, I would tend to agree with you. People are not going to forget, especially now, the more stuff we've learned about what happened and how he handled COVID, how much he lied. And by the way, the fact that dude is just a serial sexual harasser.
Yeah, he's Uncle Creepy Hands. That's what he is.
He's Uncle Creepy Hands, cousin of President Creepy Nose.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, is it not okay to touch your butt? I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I was like,
why didn't anybody tell me that's not okay?
He's tapping secretaries on the butt saying, "Good game, good game,
good game." Oh, that's bad. Okay. Well, folks, that brings us now to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. There's a comedian named that I think you'll want to hear this guy's routine, because he lets you know that there may actually be a benefit to having someone who's a little less politically correct when it comes to women, be your leader.
President Trump this week just did an executive order saying that boys can no longer play in girls' sports. That's it. That's it. Ladies, isn't it ironic that the biggest protector of women turned out to be the pussy grabber? Huh? Maybe the guy who grabs it knows how to protect it the best.
Way to go, Rob. You can do it.
You can do it. But, by the way, just so you guys know that most sexual harassment that takes place, or most sexual discrimination that takes place, is not the physical touching or the grabbing. It's really just the discrimination. In particular, they've talked about discrimination in the workplace. And here's a video of some gentlemen who are really focused on and talking about creating equity, in the workplace for women.
Well, it's great that women occupy 65% of PR jobs. We still live in a world where only 14% of Alaska crab fishermen are women.
And 10% of roadkill removal specialists. Women are perfectly capable, and they have every right to be down there mining coal with the boys.
50% of coal miners should be women minimum.
It starts at home, whether it's mowing the lawn or building furniture.
We've both been doing our part. Dave, I support you in both of your careers.
90% of whale snot collectors are still men.
Or 94% of porta potty cleaners.
What message does this send to our daughters? Are you willing to step up, or are you too entrenched in gender norms?
Total equality in every way.
Yep.
It's just funny because what I found interesting about that is that if you look at when you look at the number they talk about when they talk about the pay inequities, they don't divide it out by jobs, and a lot of it is just the careers that women choose versus the careers that men choose. That's a bunch of it. And these are jobs that I'm sure women are not choosing. But some of the ones I heard him mention, I'm like, yeah, I know that they're sucky jobs, but they pay pretty well.
That crab fisherman gig's a pretty good job. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely it is. All right, now we got a couple of videos here talking about kind of referencing the meeting at the White House, and I think it's important for our audience to be able to put the meeting in context, and I think these videos kind of do it. I'm going to play them both kind of back to back.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
You are going to learn to be more professional, Luke. That's what you're going to do, Luke. What the hell was that? I had to do that. This. Screw it. All right.
So
by the way, for those of you who are just listening to the program, that was a scene from the audience where J.D. Vance was put Zelenskyy over his knee. Is pretty much the. Yeah. You're just gonna go over to Spotify, check it out. You're gonna have to watch it in order to fully appreciate that one. But I thought those were both very appropriate.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Very good stuff. Very good stuff. All right, folks. Well, that brings us to the end of the program. But before we go, we got to do what we got to do, and that's start by paying our bills. Let's give another quick shout out to our sponsors.
That's right. Get on over to Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get yourself those AR barrels. They got any length you desire, any caliber you desire, pistol, rifle. You can use them for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting that good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And again, you got a store, you got an agency, you're part of a organization, you need a bunch of gear, get on over to uscombatgear.com. You can get law enforcement, military, security, fire, whatever you need. They've got everything except the gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Just follow the links to their websites. You'll find them in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. And with that, it's going to be a show today. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. Till then, y'all have fun. Stay safe. And if you get a chance, send a few downrange. Not at us, but for us. Anyway, y'all take care. I'll let you tomorrow.